Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode on the Indica Invest channel. Today, we're going to talk about Zeta Q4 earnings. So, they have earnings in less than 24 hours of recording. And so, today in this video, I just want to do a quick little deep dive into what I'm looking for in the earnings and things to look out for on your side as the investor. So, let's go ahead and hop in here. The first thing to talk about, and just I always do this in every video, I like to just show the stock price. So, if we currently look on Robinhood, the best platform ever, and we look at Zeta themselves. This is my public portfolio. I kind of drop weekly videos and share this account publicly. Zeta is currently 15.07 a share. And we look at year to date, it is down almost 27%, which is just egregious. So the stock is down a bunch, and clearly the market is in some SaaS sell-off mania. Obviously, AI is going to replace enterprise platforms, as it's just as simple as a snap of a finger. And so, obviously this sell-off is completely warranted and makes 100% sense. No, just kidding. This is a little ridiculous. If we go ahead and look at just more financials from Zeta themselves, um, again, the company is currently a $4 billion market cap, so almost under that $4 billion market cap mark, which is just nuts. Um, Now, obviously, they have 13% free cash flow margins, 60% gross margins. Their EBITDA is finally almost at 5%, and they're finally operating profitable have operating margins in the positive. The thing we're looking for this quarter is obviously their net income margins. And so that's a big thing we'll talk about, but I'll wait on that a little bit. Um, so this company is not expensive as well. If we look at price to sales, which actually isn't shown here, but if I go ahead and pull up on the dashboard, I pull up price to sales here. Let me actually look for so we pull up price to sales and we pull up Zeta. Here is Zeta on a price to sales. It's currently at a 2.9 price to sales. Go ahead and zoom in just a little bit more. 2.9 price to sales, guys. So again, this company is not an expensive company by any means. And it wasn't expensive when I was buying it in the 20s. But yeah, so clearly Zeta's been beaten down, kind of just in the overall macro headwind of SaaS being killed by AI, which I don't really believe. But I just wanted to cover that first. Now, obviously, the big thing, like I just kind of hinted at a little bit, the first thing I'm looking for at team is profitability, right? I mean, obviously, we've talked about it probably every Zeta video I've ever made. Are they going to be gap profitable? A lot of my thesis is on them kind of flipping to profitability and showing that operational leverage moving forward. Um, and so clearly that's the first thing I'm looking at. If you guys take a look on, and I'll go ahead and pull it up here, but if you guys follow Wealthmatica on X, he actually pointed out and gave a really good thesis on possibilities of being profitable. Um, and so I wanted to just maybe take a look a little bit there on just their on the path to profitability. So, like I was saying, Wealthmatica posted profitability scenarios for Zeta. Now, please give him a follow if you don't already. He posts great Zeta DD. I'm sure if you guys are following me, you're definitely following him. But he gave a few scenarios. Now, obviously, he highlighted here that there's a $15 million acquisition expense expected in Q4. He gave some pretty good numbers here. So, getting out stock-based comp, depreciation, amortization, interest and other expenses, acquisition-related expenses, pre-tax GAAP net income, and then provisions for income tax. And so he also highlighted it with the bull case. This is the minus of 15 acquisition expenses. So he also highlights that, saying an average beat is a 7%, a median beat is 6% on the revenue or adjusted EBITDA side. And so Zeta guided for 91.1 million. And so here's his bull case that he has lined up for no beat at 91.1 million. He thinks they'll still beat on the bull case on the GAAP net income side, 4% beat, and you kind of can see down the line. Here is his base case, so 17.5 million of acquisition expenses. If they don't beat, he thinks they'll miss on their GAAP net income. If they beat by 4%, 1.8 million. If they beat by 6%, 3.3 million. And then here's his bear case, so 20 million of acquisition expenses. This is, if they only beat by 0, so basically meet their guidance, or only beat by 4%, then they're still going to miss GAAP net income. And so 6% beat is sort of where they'll be profitable there. And so he highlights and does a good job explaining that it's not guaranteed, guys, that gap net income's happening. I've obviously been pounding the table on it and something I'm looking out for. But again, you never know this quarter specifically. I think if it's not this quarter, though, next quarter is even more likely. I think Wealth Medica himself said he puts it at a 75% chance. So just, that's the first thing and the biggest thing we're looking at as a catalyst. And then moving forward, them as a company being able to continue that profitability and then increase their income margins, increase their free cash flow margins, and see that upward trajectory as well. So that's the first thing I'm really gonna be listening on. The second thing, and this is more of just what I love about their tabs here, or it's not their tabs, their presentations. These slides are great. So the next thing I'll be looking for is this percentage here of them serving the Fortune 100. There was a tidbit in their acquisition of Marigold that they'll now serve a 20 additional of the top 100 advertisers. Now, that doesn't assume that all 20 of those are in the Fortune 100. It could just be it's very opaque there. But again, I'm looking to see what this serving of the top Fortune 100 is because again, the more and more entrenched they are in these enterprises, and we all know the big saying, every dollar that comes in gives them $6 to $7 in revenue. And so, if you can entrench yourself in more and more enterprises, you're going to see this the whole operational margins that I talked about just continue to increase up to the right. That's what you like to see. So again, this is another thing I'm looking for and really curious on to see what how many more they're serving, and just overall more of the industries that they're in. Now, another one that's really big is obviously their consecutive quarters of beating revenue and expanding their adjusted EBITDA. I think it's been 17 quarters of consistent beats, and so obviously the third thing I'm looking for is just another quarter of consistent beats. I think that's super important. And another thing I'm really looking at, and the fourth thing would be just their scaled customer count. So they do a great job of breaking out their customer counts of 0 or 100K to 1 million and 1 million plus. And so what I'm actually really looking for, honestly, is more of this 100 to 1 million. So we know that they're in a lot of enterprises, but I really want to see them expand into more of the SMB. I mean, 100K to 1 million isn't really SMB, but even smaller companies, because I think over time their excellence of the product will shine through, and so those smaller 100K to 1 million will become a 1 million plus. And so that's why I want to see them grow that smaller base more, and then they'll increase. As you can see here, they did 180 last quarter, 168 the previous quarter, and you kind of can see the uptrend from these bigger accounts. Now, something else I'd like to talk about, and it's not really shown here, but obviously for me, a big thesis investing besides the operational trajectory that I think they're going to be going, but also Athena. Now we've talked about Athena a little bit. It's just for quick, short explanation. It's basically just a chatbot that enables anyone to be a marketer. Now it's embedded in Zeta's platform, and so I wanted to see more on that. A, more on just the roadmap. B, more on like just who's in the pipeline. Maybe just an idea of, let's say right now they have 20 customers in pilot. Maybe moving forward, how many more customers are going to be having in pilot the next quarter, so in Q1, or Q2, sorry. I also want to see, in the pipeline, where are they thinking this is going to grow to moving forward? Maybe even just a count on or some, customer success stories of enterprise customers using Athena. Just anything in general to me, highlighting Athena, highlighting more things about it, giving more numbers, giving more information. Obviously, we're still early innings of the product's only 3 or 6 months old. And so I don't think we're going to see a whole lot, but I'm betting a lot of my money on that this is going to take the company from growing 25% to 30% to 35% to 40%. And I don't think it's going to get much higher than 40%. But again, even a company growing at 40% with their adjusted EBITDA, there'll be a rule of 40 of 50 or 60, somewhere in there. And I think they'll be a phenomenal company. But I think for me, just more information and more numbers on Athena themselves. Now, another one that I really like, another slide that I really like to look at is this customer success, their customer scaled ARPU, so average revenue per user in this case. And so you see that customers that stay with them longer tend to do far more. So again, 3.2 million that have been there for 5+ years. And so I really want to see this scale. You kind of can see this continue to scale up as we move forward. But yeah, I mean, they should have a lot of great slides. Obviously, feel free to take your time and go through all these decks. I also would really like to see them come in and just slowly update their 2028 targets. Maybe make this 2.2 billion, make this 540 million, make this 350 million. Just slowly increase it as they always do, and just continue to show that they're guiding, basically sandbagging every quarter, and that this number is going to be crushed in 2028. Now this year they're guiding for 1.54. I think 2027 is 1.85 or 1.9. Um, and so again, just showing that they're going to crush those metrics is really what I'm looking for. Um, but yeah, I mean that's really all I have. I just think those are all the things you should be aware of. All the things I'll be looking for. Another big piece too, and I think Wealthmatica or Nick, aka Nick, has talked about a little bit too. Is just more understanding of all of the data points they have. So because they acquired Marigold, we did a live stream earlier today that kind of talked about the fact that with that Marigold acquisition, they have 500 to 1 billion more unique users. And now, again, not confirmed. It's not 100% fact. It's just sort of some what we looked into. So I'd like to see maybe just more data points or more facts on how much they're actually serving, how many customers, unique users they actually can market to. Um, and so that'd be something else I'm looking out for. But yeah, I'll be live tomorrow afternoon going over Zeta earnings. I'm super pumped. I'm super bullish long term. Obviously, SAS has been getting destroyed the past 9 to 10 weeks. Um, but yeah, see you guys during the earnings call tomorrow. Appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the next one.